Hey guys, Rick Ginn. In today's video, I'm going to tell you why the eviction list is so valuable in wholesaling real estate in regards to leads. I'm going to teach you how to identify the perfect avatar for a landlord in an eviction process. I'm going to teach you how to pull the list and most importantly on how to market to them. So do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, maybe share this video with someone that needs the truth on wholesaling today. So let's talk about why the eviction list is such a powerful lead source for wholesaling real estate. Think about this. How many people you think get into real estate thinking it's going to be passive, this is going to be the greatest thing in the world? We all know the benefits of owning real estate. We do not need to rehash it in this video, but most people don't do their homework and they don't understand what it takes to get into it. Perfect example, a lot of people buy stocks, go, I want to go over the real estate because the stock market got iffy, and they find someone, they buy a property and they put a renter in there and everything's perfect. And then things start to go south, breakdowns on the property, expenses occur, they're not making any money, the renter stops paying, and then they find out they have a trashed property. And guess what? Then they go, what do we do now? It's not like a stock. You just can't push a button and get it sold. There are liquidity issues, there are expenses, and at some point people just go, I'm just done with it. This is crazy. This is the farthest thing from passive income I've ever made, and let's just get rid of the real estate. And that's why these evictions are so valuable. There is a high probability if a landlord files an eviction that they would be open to selling the property at that time. In fact, that is going to be their greatest opportunity to be able to buy that house from them. That's why we want to focus on the eviction list. So sharing the ideal avatar, we've already established why these are great deals. So what is the perfect avatar for a landlord with a property on the eviction list? Number one, I just said it, the landlord that just thought this was going to be a lot easier than it was, and that is a majority of them, because some people are just too nice. They can't manage tenants. They don't hire property management because they don't have enough money because they overpaid for the property a lot of times, and they think they can do it better and they have absolutely no experience. And remember, there's legalities and laws. That is number one. The second one are what we call tired or even elderly landlords. I mean, they've been doing it a long time, 20, 30 years, sometimes 10. And I'm telling you, I've owned properties for a long time. Tenants will wear you out. The process is exhausting. And honestly, you really don't make money till you sell the property or possibly even refinance it. And then they just get tired of dealing with the tenants. The same old story. Doesn't matter how many tenants go through. You get good ones, you get bad ones, you get lawsuits, you get problems, you get weather events, and they just get tired of the mental bandwidth that these properties take. And this is the point where we call a tired or elderly landlord, where we call the white flag. They just wave the white flag. And here's the good news. They bought these properties really cheap 20 years ago. They're not going to give it away, but they're going to give a good deal. And a lot of times they'll do creative financing. They'll write you a note and you got a lot of options. And honestly, they're just tired. If you can establish a rapport with them, it is absolutely amazing. These are the ideal ones you're looking for. Now, I'm going to give you a checklist to help you pre-qualify evictions to find out if they're going to be a great lead. And I have found some commonalities in these types of leads. Let me run through it real quick. Number one, the average landlord, other than the tired or elderly landlord that files an eviction property, if they own less than 3 properties, you're going to usually get a great deal because they really don't know what they're doing. They got into it, they didn't do any homework, and now they're shocked and now they want to get out of it. And honestly, at this point, if they believe you're the right buyer, they will move forward and move on. Remember, the more properties they buy, the more seasoned they become. So once they get past 3, they've usually learned their lesson by that point. When they have 3 or less, a lot of times they have yet to learn the lesson, and that's why they're perfect at this point. Number 2, make sure they have an active eviction going on. Number 3, I like to have them with high equity, 40% or more, and that would be on the light side. A lot of these have 100% equity. Why is that important? Because it gives them the ability to highly negotiate with you, do creative terms, financing. The more equity, I find the more play in these properties. Most of these properties are going to need some type of repair, and it's a urgent repair that needs to be done. That's usually why they're selling it. And almost every one of these, I tell you, have a horror story about a tenant or multiple tenants. The last thing I want you to understand is you can do this virtually. Like, this is incredible because I'm going to show you how to pull these lists. They're not that hard. If you go through my checklist, not everyone's going to hit them, but if you have somebody who hits all those, you're usually going to get a great wholesale deal on an eviction list lead. So how do we pull this list? This is the easiest part of the video. It'll be at your county courthouse. It'll be in the civil department, and these are public lawsuits. They do not hide these. They have to put it out for the world, and for that reason, you should have little to no resistance on it. Now, you can go the old school way and pull them down at your courthouse. They'll happy to share that information with you, or a lot of you will have online access. Remember, I said this is absolutely perfect if you do virtual wholesaling, because Obviously, evictions are a pain point. It is a high probability they're going to sell, and that is perfect for a virtual wholesaler all over the country on a list that's public, that you're not fighting as hard as like the probate or the water shutoffs list like that. So we're going to talk about how to market to these types of properties, and this is very straightforward and simple. Now, remember, once they file an eviction, there is a time frame. Usually the tenant has between 20 and 30 days to respond. I'm not a lawyer. Look up your state eviction laws and have a familiar process with it. But for this reason, speed is important. So direct mail is not nearly as effective in this, and I would avoid that at all costs when doing evictions. What I would do is a good old-fashioned cold call, because it's the fastest way to get in touch with them, and usually it's pretty easy to get their phone number. And number two, I would do SMS text because it's fast. Speed is very, very important when it comes to a legal document like an eviction, because whoever can get to them first has the best probability of getting a great wholesale deal. Now, let's talk about the issues you're going to deal with these types of properties when they come up. So some of you are going to pull this list and go, Rick, I have no idea what to ask for. There's really two important things. Number one, ask for a copy of the lease, or at least have them recite the basics and the fundamentals of it. And here's how a lease works. Most people sign a 1, sometimes people sign a 2-year lease. And then after that, it goes month to month. It is always a great idea to have a lease as a landlord. I let you in a little secret here. This is gold. Landlords that do not have leases are extremely unorganized. They thought this was going to be easier than they thought it was. And the ones that don't have a lease are golden for the best wholesale deals. Why? Because they didn't treat it as a business. They treat it as a hobby, and they don't know how to get out of it. And this is where you, the wholesaler, provides the solution. So number one, ask for the lease. Then find out what the terms of the lease are. Warning, if someone just renewed a 1-year lease, that is going to be a difficult property to sell, because now you are confined by the cash flow of that property, and most landlords have it way below market. And honestly, if they're filing an eviction, who wants that tenant in there? They want to get rid of them. The tenant could go to court and make it right. So I'm always looking for properties with like 30-day, month-to-month leases or no lease at all. Now, we all know what the problem is. We know it's the tenant. So we don't have to overdo this. It's usually the tenant, and usually the property's run down. That's most of the time why they're selling it. Now, this is where I want to get the story from the landlord. I want to hear their horror story and let them tell you about it. Like, you can just say, hey, what's going on here? And some of them will just go on and just tell you how bad the tenant is. The more they talk, the better. The more the seller, in this case the landlord, emphasizes their pain, the better your chance of crafting a solution to solve it for them. But let them go deep into it. Let them explain it to them, and let them tell you their story, how they got there. Because remember, you're going to be the hero at the end of this transaction. Now, the next part you got to get familiar with are the tenants. Now, if they're filing for eviction and the tenants are there, you know they're going to be difficult. This is where a lot of people run from them. I gravitate towards them. You know why? Because tenants have the other side of the story. And I've met more times where it's actually the landlord that's not fixing up the property, not taking care of it. And here's the really cool part. I always go and befriend the tenants. I ask for permission from the current owner, and I just talk to them. Number one, I want to know what I'm dealing with. And number two, I want to find out the issues with the property. And I'm telling you, let me warn you, the tenants will unload on you about everything wrong with the property. They're going to tell you stuff that the landlord doesn't want to tell you. And you can use this as leverage on your deal, because most landlords are hiding stuff. Some are brutally honest, but for the most part, the tenant's going to tell you. They might blow it out of proportion, but you can find out what the repairs are. Honestly, tenants are better than inspectors. They'll tell you about roof leaks, wiring issues, about how cheap the landlord is, and they won't do any fixes. And this is why they want to go to court and win. And it allows you to underwrite the landlord and also underwrite the tenant and also underwrite the property all in one swoop with no cost. So do not avoid the tenant. I'm telling you, the tenant has golden information that you can use as leverage when you negotiate your wholesale deal with the landlord. So remember, you take what the tenant has, you take the lease, and you take the landlord's story, and you listen. You become a really good listener in wholesaling. And once you have all that data, your job is to craft a solution to solve the seller's pain. Honestly, the one thing I want to do is give the seller certainty. My best deals come from the ones that really didn't belong being there, and they want it done, or a really tired landlord that's been doing this 20 years. They go, Rick, I just kind of want this done. I'm making plenty of money here. Just do what you say you're going to do. The bottom line is they want certainty. So you have to find the solution. Now, here's the key to solution. You have to build rapport. If you skip this out rapport, you're going to be transactional. Me and Zach are not the people to teach you. There's plenty of gurus who will teach you how to just throw in offers and do nothing else. That never works with eviction leads. What you want to do is sort through all the information and craft a solution that solves the seller's issues. And most of the time, here's what sellers will tell me. I want to get this property sold so I could just be on the beach in Hawaii, or we want to get all these properties sold so we can just kick back and vacation all around the country and just kind of enjoy ourselves, because the last 15 years we haven't enjoyed ourselves. So guess what? When you craft your solution, make sure you incorporate the seller's destiny, where they want to wind up. Remember, we're going to have to get through some pain to get there. You've already gotten their pain, but when you give your go for no offer, which I teach over at freewholesaling.com, if it doesn't sound familiar, go over there. Me and Zach teach a course 100% how to start from nothing in wholesaling and get up to your first $100,000. But go for no, you're going to have to do a brutally low offer, but you have to set them up with rapport. Now, once you do that and you get that information, I'm going to remind them, by taking this offer, I can get you to where you want to go. Either it's a destination, a place, a journey, a vacation, whatever it is. Remember, we're selling certainty and we are trying to get the seller to where they want to go, but they have to accept our offer. The only way we can do that is by listening very carefully with these two, taking the information in and carefully crafting a solution that gives them certainty and solves their problem and gets them where they want to go. So listen, you get the right property, the right situation, and the right amount of pain. Eviction leads can be some of the best wholesaling deals you will ever do. Now, guys, I avoid landlords that own 20, 30, 50 properties because they're not interested in developing rapport with you. They're 100% transactional. Avoid them like the plague. I'm going to give you two little bonuses before I leave to help you out with evictions. Number one, in some states on the eviction filing at the bottom, they put the landlord's name and they put their phone number at the bottom. I know the state of Michigan does it. There's like 8 or 9 other states. I don't want to rattle them all off. Check that out, because sometimes that even makes your skip tracing even easier. Number two, when you go to craft your solution, consider buying the property with the existing eviction in it. You're like, wait a minute, Rick, I got to buy it with a bad tenant. Once you review the lease terms, remember, you're going to be wholesaling these properties, but your lowest offer comes by solving the biggest problem. So if you buy it with the current tenant, you get a deeper discount, you can make more of a spread, and you just have to disclose it to your new cash buyers taking over your contract. But if they're getting a savings too, you make more money, they get a better deal. It is a huge win. I do a lot of these types of deals. Make sure you underwrite the tenant, you underwrite the property, and you underwrite the current landlord so you know what you're getting into. But guys, I love to do eviction leads because they can result in great wholesaling deals. The key to this is just be extremely consistent. Not everybody wants to sell it for a wholesale price, and I understand it. And if you go back through this video and stick to the key terms, how I identify the best avatar, meaning the best type of landlord sellers for this, that you get the best deal. It'll give you a hint on who to work with and who not to work with. The guy with 50 properties is a nightmare. And the last bonus tip is, if someone calls like, I got 50 properties, I want to sell them, just simply say this: give me your biggest problem property, the vacant one that needs the most repairs. Let's see if we can do a deal on that one. And if that works out, we can talk about the other 49. Do not try to take down 50 deals. It is usually just a huge waste of time, and they're usually just using for you for an offer to keep climbing up the offer ladder. Do not be that type of wholesaler. Buy one problematic property. If you win on that one, you can just pick away at them at your own convenient pace, and it doesn't matter how much experience it does. It doesn't matter if it's your first deal. That's how you attack the person comes with you with a huge portfolio of properties. So guys, if you got value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and let me know in the comments, are you going to attack the eviction list? And if so, are you going to use your listening skills to craft the best solution to get a great wholesale deal with evictions? Guys, this is Rick Ginn. I'll see you in the next video.